Hello, everybody. It is so good to see you. Some of you we saw quite a few days this past week. Wasn't it fun? I just wanted to move out of the way and let you see I got half of the quilt done now. And I think I'm really going to enjoy it. So today maybe you can help me figure out, hi Polly, maybe you can help me figure out what width to make the borders. But anybody who couldn't make the class, oh, thank you. It was so good to see all of you. Here is our time to quilt at gmail.com. So if you couldn't make the class, but you would like the paper piecing patterns, let me know. And this is, it's Snails Trail Al Fresco by Cut Loose Press. And you can get this pattern for $3.99. And it was made to use rulers, but I prefer paper piecing because I'm not real good with my points. But here it is. So I'm going to have another big row along the bottom, then add my border, and then a binding. And I'm thinking about doing something really creative and colorful for the binding. I do have a fabric. Let me see if I can find. Here's a piece of it. And I'm wondering if I have enough of this to make a binding, which will be like a rainbow. I don't know, but I will be thinking of it. So, oh, I'm so glad you liked it. You do, yes, you do see the snail trail, and I love the stars in the center of each of the big medallions. I love those stars. So, let me first see who's here, and then we will talk about what it was like to work on this quilt. So, because I really wanted to make it as easy for you as possible, but that's kind of tricky. Oh, and Hope, I have a picture. I took a picture upstairs of my rooster quilt that I was telling you about the other day, and I'll show that to you in just a moment. So Marsha was the first lady here. Hi guys, I hope you all can stay cool. This next few days is going to be awful, 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 awful. So we're trying to keep curtains closed and make easy meals that don't heat up the house, and just trying to, in fact, our electric company is like, everybody try to pitch in and keep it cool during the hours of 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., something like that. So we're doing what we can. So there's our Debbie. I can't wait to show you the pictures of the people who did the class. There's our Hopi. Hello, darling. Cheryl, oh my gosh, how is our Cheryl? She gets, I think everyone that was participated in the class in any form will agree that Cheryl gets the most tenacious award. She was planning for a trip out of town and still made, that morning they were leaving, she worked on the quilt until he said, 5 minutes, the car's leaving. So Cheryl was amazing. And there's Joe Sows and Marsha, and Kathy Klein visited with us. She has been quilting a lovely quilt that I hope we'll get a picture of when she's done. Pardon me. I hate choking because I breathe in funny. But, and Joe Sows, oh my gosh, oh Joe, we got in the yatai, which is the correct pronunciation for the food vendors in the streets of Japan. There's a couple cities and that still have them. We got it in, and I'm so excited about it. So, but Joe did a wonderful coffee shop house, and oh, I don't know if I have pictures of it though. I don't have pictures, but it's pretty amazing. All right, so let's see. Debbie, Lisa's here. Hi, hon. We had a good time with this quilt during our class this week, Lisa. And if you ever want to tackle, I know Lisa has the program, if the pattern. If you ever want to tackle, I made it into paper piece designs, and I made it a little touch bigger, only like 2 inches bigger, across the width and the height, I think, because I think it's pretty much a square quilt. So, oh yeah, the circle, isn't that cool? Storm at Sea does a lot of this, and what these are called, guys, are secondary designs that happen. And I love a quilt. It's like getting 2 designs for the price of 1. But she's talking about the big black circle around the stars, and I think it's just awesome. So there's a lot of movement in this quilt, and I can't wait to show you other people's quilts. There's our Mary. Wait till you see Mary's. Mary just breathes fresh air into every project she works on. So I think you're going to be happy with everyone's. And so it's 107 heat decks. We're going to have, I think today it's going to be 110 or 111. So we're planning, we're planning to just hunker down here. So it's crazy here. Crazy. So, oh, I love the little new symbols for our wonderful moderators. That's wonderful. Yeah, paper fans. I was talking about during the class, can you remember before air conditioning? This would, and still now I think of people like Amish and Mennonites. I don't know how they do it. And one of the things, I used to live near a Mennonite community, and one of the things that always really shocked me during the heat, the worst heat of the summer, is when they have to can all their produce. You can't wait until the weather cools off. You can during the worst part of the heat because you've got to preserve them. So it gives us a lot of respect and appreciation for what our forefathers did. Hello? I just heard a funny noise. I hope nobody fell or hurt themselves. So anyway, and I wanted to go back and say, this quilt was designed by Jean Ann Wright. Jean Ann Wright, wonderful design. And it is in the family of the Storm at Sea. And but it's funny, you put the Storm at Sea and you add the Snails Trails and the Snails Trail blocks, and it's really exciting. So, and we found that depending on the fabrics, depending on the background, it changes everything. It's amazing. I thought it'd be really cool to have like a deep purple background or a deep plum. So it's really, really interesting. So it's supposed to be 110. Oh no. Yeah, hi Mitty. I'm thinking, Canada is really looking good, I told Hopi we're all going to move up there with her. And she showed a picture. She did an art quilt. I'm hoping she'll put these in her folder. Oh gosh, I meant to check and see if she had any other pictures in her folder. But it's so beautiful. Yes, I tell you what, it would be wonderful. So, this quilt has been a baby doll quilt. The one problem is, make sure you've got a very tiny seam ripper, because you will be using this seam ripper. I finally, and I tell you ladies, it really worked. I labeled my paper piece pattern. P is for print, which is my brightly colored fabric. B is for background, and this is that Snails Trail block. And if you don't get the placement, the color placement right, you'll lose that wonderful swirl. And so what I did is every one of my sheets, my paper piecing pattern, I took and wrote where to put the black or the background, and where to put the color fabric. And ever since I did that, I haven't had a single problem. And it gets a little trickier the more you make, because then you think, okay, where do I put certain colors? I like to bounce color around. Like, let me bring this out. I like to bounce around the yellows, bounce around the greens, the oranges, so that I don't end up with what I call dead spots, where there's too much of one color or too many dull colorations. So I do like to bounce things around. So I'm really pleased with that. Do I have that thing upside down? Do you know what? I put that upside down. But it's working right now, so I don't have to worry. But I was looking and I knew that I put certain colors in. So this all along the bottom is supposed to be up on the top. Oh, thank you, Miss Bonnie. Hi, Bonnie. And wait till you see, I've got a picture. I sent Bonnie some orphan blocks this week. She's already working on them. But anyway, so that is the Snails Trail. And by the time it's finished, it'll be almost as big as the color wash quilt behind it. So I hope you like it. I hope you'll try it. Mark really likes the pattern, and he says where it's called Snails Trail, he sees those as rolling waves at the ocean. So one thing I'm going to try to do is get some oceany ombre fabric and make it again, believe it or not. I'm going to make another one, and we're going to see if we can't make that Snails Trail thing look like an ocean wave crashing. So that's exciting, you know, anytime you take the time to look at something. But now the border, where you see the long the outside edge right there, that edge those are called diamond sashings, and then these are the square sashings. I'm trying, those are 5 inches. Thank you. Yeah, oh, I'm gonna have to, I'm trying to remember Bonnie's Storm at Sea pattern. But I'm trying, those outside edges are cut 5 inches, and by the time you put them, like here, now 1/4 of an inch is already gone of that 5 inches. By the time you put on the border on the other side of this, it'll be down to 4.5 inches. So if you have any ideas of how wide a border, the border will be black as well. I have my bolt of fabric here. And if y'all want to give me an idea of how wide you think the border should be. I've also decided to make some more. Let me zoom in on the square. Whoops, let me see. See that is the square sashing block, and I have decided to make one of those for each of the corners of the quilt. So, oh, that's cute, Bonnie. So anyway, but I really do like it, and I have made all the parts except, let me get my close-up camera and I'll show you what I still have to do. And it's one of those projects that you think, boy, I'm rolling on this. I have been spending hours every day working on it. And then all of a sudden you realize, I'm still got a ways to go. So let me bring my close-up camera over here and I will show you what I have been doing. All right, so I had to have 25 of these altogether, 25 of these square sashing. Everything is done except going around the edge with my background color. So that's pretty simple, but I still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that means I've done 18 of the sashing squares and I need to finish these 7. And what I do, just to show you, when I'm going to work on this, I take first, before I even start sewing, I fold on all these interior lines, because that way when you get ready to place your fabric, oops, don't fold it crooked. When you get ready to place your fabric, then see how it folds your seam allowances, so you know right where to put this. Once I place this here and I line the point of that up right across to this point to make sure I have it equal distance in the middle, then I'll take this paper and fold it down again. And this one shows me that it's going to be a little bit short of the full seam allowance. This is the sewing line, but you want a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So then I'm going to bring this down just a little bit more. Now that's better. I can see it comes out to the edge of the seam allowance. Then I like to use my flat pins for this because it goes under the sewing machine better. But I put a flat pin in like that. Then you flip it over and you use a small stitch, 1.8, and you stitch. Start out in the seam allowance, stitch along this line right here, and end up out in this seam allowance. And you can always check and see if you need to trim seam allowances by folding that paper back this way. By folding the paper back this way. But that looks pretty good, so I'm leaving that right where it is. So once you stitch on this, then you can flip it. You flip it back, give it a good press, and then one thing that I do, I really do like doing this. Let me get a different block that I've been making. And this is the diamond sashing. And what I do, oh, I've got it on both of these. What I do is then take a basting stitch and go right around the very outside. It only takes 1 minute per block to do it. Nice big basting stitch right around. And what I do is I turn it over and I stitch it from here. I make sure that I'm outside the sewing line right here. I'm in the seam allowance. That way I never have to take it back out. But so here are some I still have that I have made that will go with the 7. I haven't finished the final border. These are all the diamond sashings I've made. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 of those left to make. And here are, I cut out more fabrics than I needed because as I'm going, I'm trying to decide what colors would go best where. So here are the diamond sashing blocks. Then here are the square sashing blocks. One thing I did is I made each of these square sashing blocks identical. And I really like that. I feel like it gives the eye some calmness because it's a very busy quilt, especially depending on if you have patterns in the fabric like I do. But these are all the same. I really like that. Then, if you'll notice, with the Snails Trails, these are all the same too. I picked 2 prints or color fabrics and 2 backgrounds, and these are already glued in place, ready to go, trimmed down. So of this, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of these. Now, I only had to make 16 of these. Hi, Michelle Lang. Hi, sweetie. So I only had to make 16 of these. These you had to make 25. And then these diamond sashings, you had to make 40 of these. But these are the easiest things to make. Now I want to go ahead and show you, because the placement of the fabrics with these can be a wee bit tricky. So I'm going to take this beautiful batik right here. Let me move these out and just once I finish this, I'm going to show you this a little bit more. Okay, so now what I did, and I think I took my glue stick upstairs. I did. So what I'm going to do is just pick any glue. Okay, and this is why it's so important to press all of these seams. Press them a couple times for 2 reasons. If you do that on the back where there are no lines, you can see the fold marks. Can you see those fold marks when I move this? So the fold marks help you know exactly where to lay your fabric. So what I'm going to do is just take a couple dots, because this glue really will hold. But I don't like pinning because I always worry that I'm going to run into the pin. So I just put, usually I've been enjoying doing a glue stick, and I go once down and once across. Now, I do believe, I know that there are 2 distinct sides to batik fabrics. See how this doesn't have any of the little speckles that this one does? But this side also has more intense color. This is the top that gets stamped. So the color on the other side is what seeps through the fabric. The color on this side is what they put on with the, they put on when they stamp it, and you just see little bits of wax. So this is the side they're looking at when they make this design. Alright, I'm heating up my iron because I want to show you one more thing that I do. Now, for this, you had to take and make 3 3/4 by 5 3/4, I forget. But you had to cut, it's on my sheet, you had to cut rectangles. And then you cut the rectangles right down the center. So, I'm going to show you. I'm going to move the camera right here to my, to my ironing board. Okay. And what I do to decide how to place these, pull this up just a little bit more, is I will take and fold this back with my hand, then take the iron and iron it back. And the same thing here. And then I come back over to the other side, because see how this really makes that line. You know, you can do it by finger, but this really makes that line stand out. So I'm going to fold both of these back on those lines, come in with the iron again. Okay, and now you will see how dark and definitive these lines are. So now I'm going to bring you back over here. All right, here we go with this paper piece. There's 2 different ways you can do this. You can see that line well enough. I have gotten to the point where now I just fold it on that crease and cut it 1/4 of an inch away from that crease. It doesn't have to be perfect. It can be a little bit more, a little bit less. And I before was sewing the fabric on and then trimming it, but you know what? I said, nope, this is much easier and I don't have to worry if that big excess fabric gets caught up in what I'm sewing. So now I just fold these back and hold it, which makes it really easy to come along and cut the seam allowance. Okay, so I'm going to do one more, the last one, and trim this, leaving the seam allowance. Whoops, come on. Okay, so now here we go, and you can still very clearly see the line. So now I take my triangles, my rectangle triangles, my half rectangle triangles, and lay it like, okay, this is how it's supposed to be. So once I know, yep, I've got that right, then I turn it over and lay it so that when you fold the paper back, you can see the fabric past the seam allowance. And you can see here's where that fold line is now. And you've got a pretty equidistant piece between these two. Okay, so then, because these long triangles are a little bit tricky. So now I'll flip it over while holding on to it. I'll put it so that the lines show up here. I want those lines to show really well. I turn my stitch down to 1.8, which is very important when it comes time for you to tear off that fabric. That's very important. I start sewing in the seam allowance. Oops, I forgot this. Hold on. When you hear that sound, it means that your thread, most likely, when this happens, I'm going to show you what I do. I take the thread out of the machine and then I rethread the machine. Okay, let me see. Rethread it, because most likely it's popped out of this top looper, and rethread that machine. Let me put this here. Okay. Well, it never wants to thread when people are watching me do it, so I'm just going to thread it the old-fashioned way. But I had forgotten the other day we were working on during the class, Friday, and it just tangled up in the bobbin space. So I said, okay, that's a good place to quit. But I forgot all about that. All right, hopefully it's no longer tangled in the bobbin. Whoops. Okay. All right, so you just stitch down the line and go a little bit past that. See the sewing line right here. Whoops, now I'll bring it down a little. And you can go ahead and clip off any dog ears that hang out beyond the edge. Then what you do is you come back here, you press it, and there you've got the nice piece. And the next one, you'll do the same thing. It will be like this, and you fold it. Yep, you've got enough space. You flip it over, you stitch it, then you do these two down here. So, just thought I would show you. I'm hearing something funny right now. Let me just check make sure my dogs are okay. I'll be right back. What's going on down here? I'm hearing funny noises. No? Guess we're okay. All right. Okay. I thought I was hearing something odd, but it's just maybe my hearing aids are turned up a little loud. But anyway, so I just wanted to show you that's pretty simple. So now let me put this out of the way, and I just want to show you, because this is a really pretty block. This is the hardest. This is the hardest of the blocks to make, and it's not too bad as long as you keep everything organized. Now let me drop the shade a little bit. The sun was starting to come in there. Okay, so just make sure that I keep all of these small triangles. Keep those in a pile. These are the next biggest ones. These are the next to the largest. Well, actually, let me take that off. These are the next to the largest, and then the largest, because this block has 4 rounds of fabric. Same thing for the colors. They tend to be, they're too mixed up right now for me to organize, because I grabbed them, threw them in my basket to come down to do the show. But I have 4 different sizes of the bright patterns and colors. So here you take the smallest of the triangles, you place it there. Then I always come and fold this back on the very next sewing line. And you put this in place. You line that point up with the seam allowance. And we were very careful to line the center of the forepatch in line with the other points going both directions, so that this is truly the center. Now, to make this into a paper pattern, what I had to do, those bright lights work good, don't they? Or tracing. Hi, Charlene. Malcolm is here. So what we did to do a paper piece, you can't do a paper piece if you have to piece all 4 of these, this 4 patch. We made the 4 patches ahead, treated it as one piece of fabric. Then we can do all the paper piecing around it. So you just lay this, you fold the line, make sure, yep, I've got it in the right place. You put a little pin right here away from the sewing line. You don't want to hit it with your needle. You turn over to this side and you stitch along here. And then when you do that and flip it back over, then you just can then fold this up and press it. And you do the two of one color, 2 of the other color, and then that's the second thing you do on this block. But the important part of this, and why I figured if I labeled all the different parts, I could keep them straight. Because if you don't, you will then lose that nice swirl pattern that's so pretty on this. So anyway, just make sure, and like I said, the P is for print, or you could do C for color, and the B is for background, which is this. I used black for the background. But anyway, just so you know, you have to have all these different size pieces, and I have them of all the different prints. Then here's the third, and this is the biggest, and there is the same thing in all of these, just a little messier. I also cut extra pieces of this because I wanted to be able to pick and choose where my colors go. I am not a comfortable person with scrappy. So I want to make sure I have a little bit of control over it. So let me put this now in my basket. Okay, so let me come back to the main camera, and I want to do a shout out to our Mary. That is Andy's mom. She was back in the hospital with another little problem, and hopefully she's feeling better. Her kids are in town. Her daughter's in from Italy, and her son is down from Richmond, and they're all going to have some wonderful few days. So, oops, and here are all my scraps from this quilt. I keep them because you never know when you're going to use them. So I keep them until I'm done, and then I integrate them into my other scraps. All right, so that's that. And love this pattern. Thank you again to Cut Loose Press and Jean Ann Wright. Snails Trail Al Fresco. You can find it online for $3.99. Try to find one that you can download and print yourself so you don't have to sit and wait for the snail mail, because it is even snailier than ever. So, okay. I don't know what it is, but lately they take every government program and mess it up. Okay. So, next I'm going to show you what I got Mark. Mark was really, really wonderful this week. Really, he kept the house clean and cooked the meals and let me just concentrate on teaching and then working on this in the evenings. And so what's going on with Miss Mary? Oh, that's right. Miss Mary's going to have to check, they want to check her tummy. So we will be thinking about you, Miss Mary. That's important. But anyway, I went and looked online because Miss Joe's wonderful coffee shop miniature, it was just so cute. And so I started looking around to see, are there any new ones out there? Well, look what I found. This is what they call a yatai. It's yatai. It is, which means stall. It's a seller's stall. And these are set up in a couple cities in Japan, where then these people, it's like a little mobile restaurant. And they cannot set them up until I think 5 p.m. And they have to have them all closed up and put away by 2 a.m. And I just can't imagine. But we love, yes, Mary, that Andy's mom, Andy's my daughter's wonderful boyfriend, and his mom's back in the hospital. And so they're working on some physical therapy. As soon as they can get her a little more sturdy on her feet, she'll come back home. So we're thinking of her. So anyway, but this, I ordered this for Mark because we love watching these people on YouTube. And there's one especially we really like. And this kit has a lot of features of his. He was a temple builder, and you know, they don't use fasteners. They use all mortise and tenoning joinery. And he made his own stand, and he serves gourmet meals on the street. So it's amazing. But I can't wait. Mark and I are going to work on this. And with this kit, you have to make all the myriad of little food items. Let me see if I can show. That comes with all of this foam clay. And you have to make the food items. So I told him, don't worry, I would be glad to help with that. But, I mean, just, you have to make the dumplings and all kinds of little things to go with it. But it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. And we can't wait to start work on it. So anyway, I was so excited to show them. When I give a gift, I get more excited, I think, than the people who receive it, because to me it's like, yay. But we enjoy watching this kind of stuff on YouTube. We find it fascinating. And I don't think I'll ever want to be on a plane for 12 hours, so I'll probably never fly to Japan. But it's really fascinating. Love all the different culture. We love learning about world's culture. So I got him this, and I'm so excited. They have the most amazing kits. Just about anything you can think of, they have. So just want to show you one more time. I have not quilted it yet. Can't wait to get it on the frame, because it's going to bring out the pattern in my sunflowers as well. But I got this done, and then what I did is I used invisible thread to sew all of these diagonal lines, so that each little mosaic piece of fabric was sewn down in place, because you can't trust the fusible alone. Just handling and stuff will make those it'll make those little pieces of fabric pop up. So fusible holds for the moment, but it's always best to take good monopoly invisible thread and stitch it down. And let me tell you, I have to show you the back, because if I hold up the front, unless you're right with it, you can't see the invisible stitches. So, okay. Well, let me look at my agenda here. But I want to thank everybody who took the class this past week, or who showed up just to chat with us. It meant so much. And to tell you about my health things, I went back and had another CT scan and blood work and stuff, and the kidney stone was broken up, and they hope it's small enough that it can be passed. So he wants to wait for 2 more months, check it again. If the stones are still there, he can do another treatment. But he's decided, the surgeons decided, wait 2 months, let me heal, get over. It really wasn't bad, but they do have to bombard your kidney with sound waves. And so, let's just make sure everything's okay, because I only have one left. But my kidney function is much improved since I'm drinking so much water. So I'm doing good. Now we just got to get Mary's test to come back, and then get our Mary, and then my daughter's Mary. We need to get her back from the hospital. So I haven't worked on my sparrow quilt border at all, but I plan on trying to finish that up soon. Let's see. So I am going to put the mosaic quilt on the quilt frame. I'm going to use like black thread to outline all the leaves in the sunflower so they really pop. And then I'm going to take a gray blue and kind of just do some quilting in gentle wave lines to represent the sky. And I'm not sure yet what to do on the bottom, but I will be, hopefully I'll have that done in a couple weeks. Okay, now let's see. I also, to make sure that my mosaic edges were nice and straight, I had to take my iron, warm up some of the squares, peel them off, because since they're fused on, if you warm them, you can peel them pretty easily. Straighten them up, and then you have to use glue, because once you've ironed and taken up the fusible, you can't trust it. So I used some tacky glue and glued them back in a straight line. Okay, but it was a great class. We're so thankful to Jitsi for offering such a wonderful, it's a Zoom type format. It's so nice because we can look at each other if we want to put our camera on. people can talk to each other, not have to type. It's wonderful. And I have to remember when I'm doing it, I don't have to talk all the time. I love listening to everybody else talk. So we had a wonderful, wonderful time. And we understand that everyone learns in their different method and on their own schedule. So it was great to watch. I even learned some things from, like, Debbie and Hopi had some great hints, and so we all learn from each other. It's wonderful. Okay, don't forget, if you would like the paper piece patterns, then send me an email and I will shoot them to you in an email. They are on our group's IO site. Go to the file section and they should all be there. Coming up soon, we're going to work on reverse applique. And what I want to do, and I first was just going to put a busy fabric down as the foundation, then lay a background, what will end up being the background on top that we then draw a pattern on and cut it out, tuck it under to sew. But now I'm starting to think I might want to make a pattern where I put different fabrics. Like if I'm going to make flowers in a vase, I'll have the pattern drawn on a piece of muslin. Then I will cut out different fabrics for the different flowers and a different fabric for the vase itself. And that way when we cover it with what's going to be the background and we cut around, because that'll also have a pattern drawn on it, and we will cut out the fabric and turn it under and reveal the fabric underneath. So I'm going to start to work on that. I couldn't have it done today. It's been too busy of a week. But that will be coming up for us. Then I will go to our other fun thing for today. And that is, I've been telling you how that Mark and I decided I only had one. Let me get my close-up camera to show you this. I only had one paper bead roller, and it was making me nervous. And I found out through a wonderful woman named Jilly at Rainbow Lane, and that's her channel's name on YouTube. So I found out through her, she gave us the information that we needed to make our own paper bead handles. And I really, oops, let me see. Do I have that? Yeah, okay. Let me get this straight. Let me bring the light over. All right. So what I was going to show you is here is one of the bead rollers that Mark and I made. We bought these handles pre-made, pre-finished. Then we bought, these are actually a tool part that helps connect two pieces of metal. It's called a spring tension dowel. And you see how it has this space down the middle? And I'm going to show you how it makes a wonderful bead roller. So we made these, and then of course I said, it'd be really nice to decorate the handle. So, whoops, let me bring it forward a little more. Okay, so what I did is I painted flowers on it. I also put my name on it, so if I take it away places, they will know who it belongs to. But I just put some little flowers around it. And what I've done so far is taken and covered it with clear nail polish. But then what I'm going to do is put some thin layers of triple thick and paint them on so that this doesn't rub off. I use these acrylic markers, and unless you really put a protective coat, they will rub off of this, because remember that the handles came with a finish on them, and I didn't sand that off. I just painted this on top of it. But anyway, but I thought that was kind of cute. Here is my old bead holder that I bought from her, gosh, 4 years ago, I would think by now. And you see the two size tips we have. This is a bigger one. Here is the smaller one. So this is a M5. This is an M4 right here. So anyway, we do have those, and if you want to buy one from us, the reason we're selling them is because we had to buy 20 tips in an order. Since it is considered a tool, they don't sell these little things by the onesies and the twosies. So we have some, we bought 10 handles, we've made 5 of each size, and I'm keeping one of each size, and just so I always have it, because I really do like them. They're just so much easier than any, and more comfortable. That wood feels soft in your hand. But now I'm going to show you what I've got together right here. I take a piece of scrap paper. This is scrap paper out of the printer that I couldn't use. And then I took some fabric. This is fabric. So I'm going to show you, not only can you make paper beads, you can make fabric beads. The first thing I did with this fabric, I cut a piece this wide, glued it on scrap paper with some tacky glue, because that holds really well. And with fabric, I used tacky glue instead of school glue, because fabric, has a different finish on it. It's more porous. But anyway, so then technically I'd only have to have this wide of a piece, but I wanted to make sure that you could really see it. So then I glued it on school paper, and then I just come in here and cut. I folded it in half just to make it a little easier to cut. Now, if you want, you can make them perfectly cut. Use a paper cutter, or guillotine style cutter. But, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you. So I took the fabric, because you notice this fabric is pretty thick. I wanted to make it stiffer. I starched it. I starched the front 2 times, letting it dry, letting it cool, starching it again. I starched the back 2 times. Just makes it that much easier for you to turn into a bead. Now, I don't know if I need all this paper. I doubt I do. But I'll first roll it with all this paper, and then I'll trim it and let you see. But here is the M4 roller, and you put the paper inside that little slot right there. And then this is called a barrel bead, because I don't want to waste, to make a more rounded or tapered bead, you'd have to have, the whole piece would have to be the fabric, and I'm too stingy for that. Plus, I don't think the design would be quite as cute on, whoops, put away my glue. I'm being so neat and tidy lately, I'm getting in my own way. Here. Okay. So, let me bite the lid off. Alright, now I can see that this fabric is loose right there, so I'm going to put just a little touch of glue and keep rolling. And when I get a couple inches left, then what I'm going to do, I'm not going to use too much, just a few little streaks of this. Now you want to make sure you've got enough at the very bottom that it holds well. But see that's just not that much glue. Alright, now you can run your finger over to smooth it out, and that way it covers more of the fabric. Then you roll it up like this, and then you take that glue, the extra glue that's on your hand, and just kind of rub it off on the fabric. But see how you can take a really cute designed fabric. When you pull it off, I just wanted to make sure that the paper is equal distance. Now what I do when it comes time to finish this, if the edges aren't fully smooth, Then I come in here with scissors and trim them so they're nice and smooth like that. This one looks pretty good. Don't really need trimming there. And then if you want to hide the white paper, I'll take some acrylic paint, put a little bit on a lid, and just dab it in with, like this, I'd probably use black paint. Dab it on the end. And then when it dries, you can string this up. But isn't that cute? So you can take any design fabric you want. And now this one, I'm going to cut off some of this. Although that's not a bad size bead. So I'll just cut a little bit like that. I cut about 2.5 inches off. And then I just put it in the slot here. Whoops. And if the paper wants to pop out of the slot, just give it a little fold over and then stick it in the slot. But just roll. Whoops. Guess what? I'm rolling it the wrong way. So I will take it off. Now turn it over and roll it the right way. You want the pretty side facing down like right now, because that way when you roll it on, you'll have the pretty side showing. So just roll it, trying to keep it reasonably straight. Then put a little touch of glue there. And some glue came out of the tip of my glue bottle, so I'm just going to kind of take and rub it pretty evenly. And then finish rolling it. You see that white paper is showing there. So what I'm going to do when I finish rolling it is just push it, tuck it back in like that. And there is another bead. So you can put this to make a necklace, but you could even take one of these colors in a little bead and put the little round beads in between these little strips right here. But this is how, so that you can make fabric beads, and you would seal them with this triple thick. Okay, so pretty simple. If you have any questions, now some things that are fun, you might wonder, well, I don't really wear necklaces, what would I do with this? Well, you can make bracelets, or you can take and make scissor fobs. I love making things to hang on my scissors that let me know, yes, this is mine. So I could make these to hang on the scissors, and I think that would be really good too. So you can make scissor fobs, you can make a keychain, or luggage tags to go on luggage, anything like that. So, or make beads for grandchildren to practice making bead necklaces. So just thought I would show you how easy it is to make really cute fabric beads. So you use paper or you can use fabric. And it's fun because you can have coordinating jewelry with your outfit, all of that stuff. So, okay, well, I've kind of moved through all this stuff pretty good. But we are going to sell these for $10 a piece plus shipping. We're going to try to keep the shipping very low. I haven't mailed one out yet. I've got 2 that I need to mail out, and then I'm going to let you know what the shipping would be. But we're going to try it. And if you actually want me to paint something on it or put your name on it and seal it, I'll be glad to do that for you. Just let me know. All right. Is that about? I think I got through sooner than I wanted to, but that's okay because I'm tired and I could really enjoy. Yeah, Marcia, when you get your bead roller, you'll be able to roll those. So, okay. Yeah, reverse applique is nice and relaxing. Let me come back to the main camera. Let me move this out of the way. Okay. It's going to be nice doing reverse applique, because in this heat, it's something that you can sit and do. You don't have to use a sewing machine. In fact, I'll probably glue the fabric down on the muslin, the decorative, decorative fabric, and I'll probably glue the other fabric on top of that, and then except where I want to cut it away. So I think it'll be a fun, great project. Pardon me, I'm having hiccups. I do this sometime when I talk because I tend to swallow too much air and then I get hiccups. But I think it's a great project. Also, I had this book here, the Modern Applique book, and I think that there was a Barbara that said she'd want it, and I don't know, but I want to go ahead and get that to a new home. So if another one of y'all wants it, just let me know. It has some free patterns in it too. Well, I think we're ready to see show and tell. And I can't wait to show you some of the other ladies. Cannot wait to show you some of the other ladies' quilts because they are going to be fabulous. So, and if anyone has sent a picture that I wouldn't have gotten ahead, let me know and I will check. Also, if you have... Oh, for the blanket stitch. Gotcha. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Miss Monkey Mary. All right, if any of you have any questions, you feel free to ask me. All right, we're going to go to show and tell. And let me bring this up and show you Miss Bonnie has been a busy lady. So now I'll come back to over here. Whoops. Now, where'd that line come from? Okay. Let me see. All right, I got it open, and if I put it right up there. Oh, I know what I need to do. Let me go to here. Here we are. Now I want to look at this beautiful quilt Miss Bonnie did. These are applique blocks. Aren't they gorgeous? And then she hand quilted this, people. I am amazed. And what is the name of that YouTube show? What YouTube show, Mare? And if you tell me, are you talking about maybe the Japanese food stand? Or are you talking about a quilt? Oh, good job, Mitty. You are rearranging your sewing room. Yay, that'll be wonderful, sweetheart. I still need to do this room too. But back to Miss Bonnie's quilt. How wonderful is, number one, her applique is exquisite. But then look at, she quilted it in diagonal lines and it's beautiful. Then, let me find that. Soon as I finish this show and tell, I'm going to find it for you. So here we go. Her next quilt picture is, these are, I don't know where these blocks came from. They were little orphan blocks. I had started cleaning this room and I said, anybody want them? And Bonnie said, well, she would take them. So this is a mug rug she made. And I think I know how she did it. I think that she appliqued this down on a real pretty white background. It's white on tone, white on white background. Then I think this blue and white fabric was the backing, and she flipped it over to the front. Kind of did a reverse binding, if you would. So, Mitty, yes. Mitty, you may have the book because I lost track of who the other one was. So let me put a piece of tape on this so I will remember. And Mitty, if I've never mailed anything to you, you will have to email me your address. And don't say it on here. Just email it to our time. Whoops, come on, Deb. You can do it. Our time to, to quilt. Whoops, not. I started to type our time to wilt, which kind of works with the temperature. Our time to quilt at gmail.com. So if you email it to me there, then I can get that out. But look at this wonderful mug rug. And she took that block and now has made it into something beautiful and useful. So, isn't that cool? That is Miss Bonnie's. And soon as we finish show and tell, I will definitely show you where the channel is for that yatai. Okay. Now, show and tell. I don't think I really have anything new. Nope, I don't have anything new. So now go back to show and tell. Debbie. All right. Well, you know that Debbie was working on a wonderful heron block. And it's beautiful. But now get ready. This is her Snails Trail Al Fresco. Isn't it great? And I love these purple, dark purple corners. It really sets it off. So I love this. This is such a refreshing summer quilt with these beautiful melon colors of summer. I love it. Love it. Oh, good. I figured it out, Miss Bonnie. I thought I figured it out. You did a great job. Okay, so here is Miss Debbie's quilt from very overheated Maryland. All right, so isn't that wonderful? Okay, and then we'll go back to show and tell and get ready for very dramatic. This is our Miss Hopi. And look at this. I love that fabric. It is just so striking. I was telling her I love fabric that has a grade. This fabric is made with a slight grade wash over it. And Cheryl, you probably don't have, Cheryl, if you sent a picture to me, let me know. But don't worry if you didn't have a chance because you've been so busy. Miss Cheryl, I found out that I'm barely younger than her, but she has the energy level of 3 of me. So she just amazed us this week. And I'm hoping to hear from our Miss Joni soon again. She had just gotten home from vacation and said, yeah, I'll try to make it. So I'm hoping that she will show us. But isn't that a beautiful block from our Miss Hopi? So she was the quiet one. She sat there quietly and got stuff done. It was great. All right, so let's see. Now, yeah, Miss Joni, I didn't take any pictures from Miss Joni this time. Now, Miss Mary. So, you know Miss Mary had made this wonderful Tilda kitschy doll, which we have the free pattern, or you can go online and type in Hilda Kitschy doll, which is KITSCHY, I believe. Kitschy doll. You can get that free pattern. It was so cute to make. Well, Miss Mary enjoyed making it so much. Look what she did. She made a second one. How cute is that? And look, I love the curly hair, and she stitched the glasses on, and it looks like even put beads. Look at the beads on the corners of the glasses. Isn't that the cutest thing? So, how wonderful. Great job. Then, I want you to look at her Snails Trail Al Fresco. Isn't that cute? I love it. I mean, she comes in with patriotic fabric, puts her own spin on it, and wow. And She did an outstanding job of it. So we are really, really proud of our Miss Mary. And I was telling her, one of the ladies said she was so positive and fun, and it was just lovely having her at one of the classes. So, isn't that great? I love that. Okay. Oh, and here is her Birds on a Wire quilt. Another beauty. Isn't that great? Ah. So, just like her personality, colorful and bubbly. All right, now let me see. Melanie, I do want to show these again. This is her husband's quilt that he made, and I think his name is Dan. And here's his quilt, which is just wonderful, and it does have a masculine take on it. Then her friend Beverly Sharp came up to stay with her a couple days and work on this. And look at this. Isn't that fascinating? So, very, very good job. She's very talented quilter. And then these are Melanie's wonderfully machine embroidered hexies put together. Isn't that fabulous? So now I know she has been working on a special project she wanted to get going. She sews so much for hospitals, and she said, I really want to get this project I'm working on. But that's beautiful machine embroidery. Now let me see who is next. Show and tell. Oh, I've got to tell Meltem this. Meltem. So I had been showing, Miss Meltem is from Turkey, and she went to the Hagia Sophia Mosque and took pictures for us, because Mark and I had seen a special show on that, and it was just fabulous. So we're sewing today during our class this week, and Debbie said her and her husband happened to see a show on the very same mosque. So this is very, very famous and valuable mosque built in the 1400s in Istanbul. So we are so tickled. It just made us feel good that, yes, we know something about this, because our friend Meltem, took the time to take pictures and make videos of this wonderful city and wonderful mosque. So we can't thank her enough. Look at this. All the people gathering in this mosque. Isn't that wonderful? So thank you, Miss Meltem. You've made us all a lot smarter now. And this mosque for a good number of years was closed to any religious ceremonies or services. And in the last 5 years, it's been reopened to have, isn't that her Meltem did that beautiful quilt. And here's a call to worship, which was fascinating. I love how the people answer him back in the same notes that he made. Oops, sorry, I accidentally closed that out. I didn't mean to. Let me see if I can bring it back. Come on, Deb, you can do it. Sorry about that. I don't know how I did that, but let me see. Okay, I'll probably, if I can just bring back show and tell, because I know we probably have something else. Goodness gracious, didn't mean to close that whole thing. Okay, let's see. Miss Cheryl Oh, these, since she was so good to participate in our class this week, look at, this is a different class she took. Look at this kitty she made in this class. And let me see if I can find the teacher's name is, whoops, class project, designed by Marina. Oh, but anyway, this is a quilt design and a class she took, and I think that is so absolutely beautiful. And I think there was one more. Look at this. I love collage quilts. They're so much fun. If you remember loving in first grade cutting up construction paper and gluing it and just feeling you had a work of art, this is for you. So, good old collage. You can use fusible or you can just use glue. And that's wonderful. All right. And here is our Cheryl with her quilts right there. Isn't that wonderful? So, I just can't believe she's older than me. I'm sorry. No, no, no. I thought she was one of our young ones. So, she's definitely young at heart, and that's wonderful. All right, I'll come back to the main camera. And that was a lot of fun. Oh, and let me bring this picture up. I was telling Hopi that there are no more rules on quilting, especially art quilting. Art quilting is whatever you want it to be and however you want to make it. So here I told her about a quilt that I made about 10 years ago maybe. And it came from a photograph taken by my daughter of a barn at sunrise. And I made this stump for a rooster. And this was a portrait. Let me move this microphone so I can show it. This is a rooster we used to have. But he got so big and he would chase us around the house attacking us. So I wanted to put him on the quilt. And so the name of the quilt is King of the Dawn, because he was definitely a very regal fellow. And so on his body, the black and white lines are embroidery, free motion embroidery. But the tail are his real feathers. And he unfortunately went into a stew pot because he was just too good at attacking everyone. And I don't know if you know what? Let me see if I can bring up a picture of him. Let me see if I can find a picture of him under pictures. Okay. Because he was accepted into a Mancuso show. King of the Dawn. Let me see if I can find him. No, I see birdie pictures. Let me try one more time. Here we go. I found some. So now let me go to desktop. Okay. So this makes it a little easier to see than the picture I took this morning. So here is my King of the Dawn. And I had so much fun. Oh, Mary, you were so much fun for us to spend time with. So I was telling her about I attached the feathers from the rooster. His body is just zigzag embroidery. Then let me see another. I might have to let me go back down. Come on. But I entered this about 8 years ago in a Mancuso show. Here is how I did his feet. Just, you know, making sure that it looked as realistic as I could make it. And then here is a close-up of his head. I stuffed the comb and then stitched it to give it some realism. Quilted the background. Okay. Now, let me see. I think I've only got one more shot. Yeah, I think it's just the rooster close up. I wish I had a shot of the stump he was sitting on, because I put real lichen on the stump, and it was a lot of fun. Let me see. You can see a little bit down here. I glued real lichen onto the stump to give it that. Nowadays, maybe I just did this because we had a group, the group I ran, the quilt guild I ran, we had a group challenge. And I made this when I was camping. I took everything I needed and made it at camping. And just to enter the challenge. And it was a lot of fun. So I'm a real big believer in what was I just calling it? You can tell I'm tired. It was a very busy week. Let me come back to Maine here. Collage quilting. You've all seen, who is that wonderful woman who did the crocodilius? And she's done a polar bear that is magnificent. I have forgotten her name right off the top of my head. But I love collage quilting. Okay, I think I will be designing. If you want to have your own design for the reverse applique quilt that we're going to start next show, then feel free to start designing it. I'm going to design one just in case people are a little intimidated to design one, but I'm excited to get something new going on. This coming up week, I'm going to make sure to finish that, get a border on it. Putting it on the frame is going to be tricky. We were trying to talk about how are we going to quilt that. And what I'm thinking I'm going to have to do, let me bring it in a little closer. What I think I'm going to have to do is use multiple colors of thread. Use black quilting thread for the black background. Use a gray blue for the printed fabric, the colorful fabric. So it's going to take a little while. I also said I want to make sure to do a calm enough. Oh, I think that polar bear did. You're right, Mary. But I think that I want to do a subtle quilting on this. So, because it's busy enough, don't you think? It is busy enough. So, okay. There we go. Let me, whoops. That's right. I have to. Yay. Okay. So, I think that I have told you everything I wanted to tell you today. And tomorrow I have decided, because I've had, doctor's appointments and class and sewing and everything, I told Mark that tomorrow we're only going to move when we actually have to. So when the dogs need to go out or they'll go to the bathroom inside the house, then we'll get up. But otherwise, we're going to park ourselves on the sofa and not move. Doesn't that sound like a great plan? So, okay, everybody. Yeah, I would, our Cheryl thought about variegated thread. for the other. And that might work really well. But I just realized I just can't use just one color thread. I'm going to have to make it custom, which means it's going to take a little longer. But what can you do? So everyone, thank you for joining. Oh, thank you, Mayor. Good job. Okay, let me get that. Oh, I'm so glad you reminded me. If not, I would have cut the show off and then gone, oh no. So, and good for knowing how you almost got the spelling perfect, because good for you. It only has one T, but who cares? That's amazing. You got so much. All right, I'm just going to bring up my other, go to YouTube, okay, and then type in, let me see, Y-A-T-A-I, Yatai. Okay, here I've got it. I have got it. And the best channel I love for enjoying how these food stalls work is Japanese Food Craftsmen. They are the best. So now I've copied this. Let me come down and put it here. Oh, thank you, Miss Mary. You spoiled me rotten. All right, here you go. Yatai. And I don't know how to pronounce the K-E-I-J-I. But the guy who wears the knitted cap, oh my gosh, he blows our mind. And there's even one that shows him what he has to do to clean up the stall. He scrubs the street down. It takes him 3 trips all the way, I don't know, quarter mile, half a mile to put everything back up. He's up until 6 a.m. scrubbing everything, all the dishes, because they eat off real dishes. It's just amazing. So, that was supposed to be, that was supposed to be a link. Luckily, I didn't close it. Let me get a link. Okay. Okay, here we go. Oops, come on, silly thing. Okay, copy. I'm coming back to y'all and giving you the link. And this is great. So, Mark and I feel like we're traveling around the world right on YouTube. And it's wonderful. There's a good link for you. And it's just fascinating. And it's so funny. The Yates first came on the scene in 1630. And, in Pompeii, they have these wonderful remnants of what were fast food places back in the day. And if you have this, trade city, like Pompeii was a big international trade city, you had to have food and lodging for the people who came to do the trade. And so 1630, the Yates first set up. And what makes them different is it's temporary. They have to set that restaurant thing back up every day. And it's fascinating to watch how they do it. But it's become very trendy. And so some cities that were trying to kind of phase it out, thinking that it made their town look dirty or unkempt or messy or whatever, it's now caught on with the young crowd so that it's very fashionable. And they even have tours based on going to visit the best of these food stalls. And with buildings and land and space being so expensive in Japan, this is the only way that some people can make any kind of inroad into doing what they love best, which is cooking and entertaining people. So it's a whole fascinating story, and I think you might like it. The food is amazing. It is. It worried me at first because I know in this country, I don't buy hot dogs from some vendor on a street. But in Japan, especially in some of the cities, they have the utilities there for these sellers, and they do inspections and things so they can make sure it's done right. It still makes me a little nervous, but I love watching the sense of community it brings. And remember, in Japan, yeah, I know street vendors are, I mean, it's like getting back to individual entrepreneurship, instead of having to just the huge big conglomerates. Now you can have one guy working so hard. So, it's absolutely fascinating what they do and the sense of community. I know what I was going to tell you. In Japan, their apartments hardly have what's called a kitchen. They kind of expect them to either bring food home from a restaurant or to eat out. So these serve a strong purpose in that so many of the people who live in their tiny Japanese apartments don't really have the space to cook. So, fascinating. Well, take good care of yourselves. Have a great week. Do something special just for you. And thank you for spending this time and inspiring me and teaching me with all of your own methods and things you love. And I will see you next week. All right. Take care, everyone. You are the best. Stay cool, please. Please let me know you're okay. Okay? All right. Take good care, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.